Hey, I'm Adam. I'm a radio, television, film major at Rowan, and today I'm working on a project for my sound class where I take an existing trailer for a video game, I mute the audio, and then I kind of rebuild the whole soundtrack from scratch. So this will kind of have three distinct stages. The first one will be me looking for sounds online and looking for the sounds I've recorded and dropping them in. The next part will be me recording my own dialogue for the trailer, and then the final part will be me mixing the sound effects and music along with my own dialogue. The program I'm using is Adobe Audition, and so I have this screen that has all of my tracks and different layers up on it, and I actually have a second screen up where I have the video playing that I'm syncing all the sounds along to. So you'll be seeing this screen with the tracks, not the other one, but that's okay because this is where all the magic happens anyway. So up first, I need some overall ambient sounds to kind of set the scene for this whole video game, which takes place in a really cold and windy environment. So I'm going to go ahead and search for wind on SoundStat and see what it has for me. So I like this first one that I listened to, so I'm going to go ahead and download that. Then I'll bring that into Adobe Audition. And I can try it out in the context of the video. So that was my first sound effect that I dropped in. Okay, so now that I have my two overall ambiences in, which are the windstorm and the factory, I'm going to start getting into the bigger of the individual sound effects. So something that's really cool about sound design is when you get to make a sound that doesn't actually exist in our world. For example, the Godzilla roar was made from a bunch of different animal sounds and other noises mixed together to create that awesome, scary noise. So at the end of this video game trailer that I'm making, there's this kind of robot bear that jumps down at the characters. So I'm going to combine a bunch of different noises to create what I think that would sound like. So for example, I'm going to get this tiger roar. I'm going to get this metal rubbing sound, this intense screech. This moment, there's this roar. So I'm going to line a bunch of stuff up in that spot. So you can see I have these 4 layers here that I'll move around and add effects to so that we can make a new sound. So I'm going to pick this up when I start recording dialogue. I'll see you later.
I'm going to try to record this. Always these frozen wilds have punished us, with biting cold and deadly steel, but never like this. New terrors driven by an evil shrouded in smoke and ash. So many have died. I fear even the spirits have forsaken us. A demon that frenzies the machines. How do you kill that? I'm going to move on to the other characters' lines. We don't need spirits. We need answers. Track this evil to its source, and we can kill it. It's kind of my specialty. I think that went all right, but I'm going to listen back and see how I feel about it. Okay, yeah, so that one went pretty well too. I'm going to have to pitch shift that a bit so I sound more like the character should sound, but overall pretty good. Now the only line left I have is not actually a character. It's just the word PlayStation that it says over the logo at the end. So I guess I'll just say PlayStation a few different times. Try to do something interesting. PlayStation. 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 Okay, that was overkill, but I have it to work with now. So I'm just going to go ahead and export each of these recordings to just a spot on the computer. I'll put it in my downloads because I don't have anything else in that section, just so I can find it and transfer it to my hard drive once I disconnect this microphone. So this is the PlayStation sound file, so I'll name it PlayStation. Sounds good. And then this is the woman's voice. Just name that woman. Sounds fine. And this last one. Name that man. Very creative, I know. Seemed really fast, but I am now done recording my audio and I can get into editing that.
So now that I've found and placed all of my sound effects, and I found and placed all my music, and I arranged my dialogue in the way it needs to be, the only thing left to do is mix it. So I need to make sure that everything can be heard in the mix. The levels of everything are great. And then that'll be the end of the project. But this can be one of the trickiest parts, so this might take a while. So first, I'm just going to start off by muting the music because that'll be the last thing I mix in with everything else. So the music, put it together, muting that. And then after that, I'm going to also mute my ambiances and my sound effects. So I can just listen to the dialogue and see how that sounds going back and forth. I'm just going to go through and fine tune it to make sure that everything hits at around the same level for all my peaks. Awesome. So now all my peaks for my dialogue are hitting at about the same level, so I can add in another element. So the point of this ambience layer is just to build a base for everything else and to kind of set the scene a bit. So it doesn't have to be very loud. Cool. So now I have the ambience layers and the dialogue layers mixed. This first pink one I already know is going to be super loud. So I'm just going to bring that down right off the bat so I don't hurt my ears. Let's see. Well, okay, so I just finished up mixing all of my sound effects with my dialogue and ambience. So now the next step is to mix the music. The project's all mixed now, and I've listened to it a few times, and it sounds great. So I'm all done here. Thanks so much for joining me.
Always these frozen wilds have punished us, with biting cold and deadly steel. But never like this. New terrors driven by an evil shrouded in smoke and ash. So many have died. I fear even the spirits have forsaken us.
We don't need spirits. We need answers. Track this evil to its source, and we can kill it.
Ha! A demon that frenzies the machines? How do you kill that?
It's kind of my specialty.
PlayStation